From Cornwall to Birmingham and Johnston and Bexhill, here's Ruben Spire on the radio.
Hello to Vanessa Tottle. How are you today?
Hi, good, thanks.
Thank you for letting me chat to you today. Can you tell me, how have you been a singer-songwriter for?
So I've wanted to be one all my life, ever since, well, since I was five. I've wanted to be one. But I decided to take the leap in 2022 and start to pursue, singing and songwriting, and just the floodgates are open, and I can't stop.
So, can you tell me, when you first recorded your single, did you record that in a proper studio?
So proper. I have a home studio called June Baby Studios. And so I produce all my own music in the at-home studio, and then I go to Lonely Hawk Studios in QMU, Auckland, and he finishes it off and masters it for me, and then I release it.
So, can you tell me more about your home studio that you got?
Yeah, so I have converted a space in our home, and it's actually just behind me. And so I have a beat machine, my laptop, and I produce music through Logic Pro on there. And I have microphone, PA system, all the bells and whistles. It's quite cool to have it in the home. Yeah.
I say it's cuts down on the cost going to a normal studio, I guess.
Yeah, definitely, because a lot of it's really overpriced, which is really hard for independent artists. We all want to make music and get people to hear it, but I think a lot of the challenge is actually having a creative space to do that in. And so I think a lot of independent artists like myself, they end up recording at home because there's no overheads, and we're not paying someone exorbitant amount of money. And in New Zealand, there's a lot of courses for people to learn how to do home recordings, and at a professional level. And so, it's quite, good having that available to us.
So, can you tell me more about your debut single called Forever Love?
Yeah, so I was working with another studio in 2022, and so they produced the track for me. I wrote it, and I didn't have overly a lot of creative license on that, and it was because I'd just been starting out in my journey. And so, I loved being able to write and watch the process. And that was released February 23. Yeah.
So, can you tell me more about Think About?
Yeah, so I wrote that track when I was 11, and I sort of put it away in my mind. And then when I was working in the studio in 2022, I remembered that song, and so sort of fleshed it out a little bit, and recorded it and released it. So it was a bit of a dream come true, really.
So continuing about a love like ours.
So A Love Like Ours, that was one of my ones that I wrote and produced the music to, and it's a tribute to my daughter, and just a story really of how a mother's love is, and what it is for me and her. So yeah, it's not a long song, but it packs a punch.
So the single that released called I'll Let You Go.
All right, yeah. So I wrote that after wrote and produced that one and released it this year in January. And it was after I had been listening to on Instagram a influencer in Canada called Tanya Lena, and she'd done a reel on letting go of friendships and anything that's not serving you well, and to be true to yourself. And from that, I'll Let You Go was inspired. um so yeah, it's a good little dancey number. It was nice to open up 2024 with that one. um and again, I don't think it's very long, but it's catchy.
So can you tell me more about the EP that you released? They did homemade EP that was called Starting with Something.
Yeah, so that was it was pretty much, I wanted it to be like a launch pad for me. It was a mixture of originals and covers, and it was to showcase to people what I could do. Um, Looking back on it, um, I was pretty overworked at the time when I recorded that, and vocally, I don't think I was as pristine as what I am now. Like, I can listen to it and like I appreciate where I was in the journey, and I'm still proud of the project, but it probably wasn't the right time for me to do it. I think sometimes you have to wait a little bit to do certain things. But I'm glad I did it, because I wouldn't be here today where I am feeling like how I am if I hadn't have done it. But yeah, the older version of me is thinking,
So can you tell me more about the single that was called Radio Turner?
oh yeah. So as part of my sort of showcasing of who I am, and to showcase the music producer side of me, I produce and release instrumental tracks. So Radio Tuner is, in the old days when you used to turn a car radio and you'd hear the crackling as you went through the stations. This one is the modern version of, we just push a button and you don't actually hear anything. So when you're listening to it, there'll be a cool beat, and then all of a sudden it'll change up on you and you'll be listening to something else. And that's kind of what I was thinking when I made this track. To some people, things I do in my instrumentals don't make sense, but they make sense to me, and that's the most important thing. So, but yeah, I guess, if anyone had a question about any of my instrumentals, they just have to ask me, because I have this running commentary in my head of where I was when I produced that and what I was thinking. So they all have a story.
So do you prefer making instrumentals or tracks with your vocals on?
Hmm, that's a hard one. Um, I think both. I think because they have different places in my creative flow. Yeah, so sometimes, like at the moment, I have a lot of songs that are set to release and other projects all lined up. So I can kind of take a step back from vocal songs and concentrate on making instrumentals. And part of why I do that as well is I'm actually the host of the New Zealand Trip Hop Show in Brazil. And so I make these instrumentals and I play them on my show. So now it's a really good chance for me to fly the trip hop flag overseas, and yeah, it gets played all around the world. So yeah, I sort of try and keep making them to play them on my show.
So, how long have you been a music producer?
Since the middle of 2023, I wrote and produced my first track in May 2023, and I released it. It'll be a year ago on the 11th of August, called Let the Music Take Over.
So, can you tell me what is the process of being a music producer?
Process. I guess first thing, I guess you've got to know how to either play an instrument or have an ear to be able to go into Logic and ferret away in there and find loops and make beats on your beat machine, or stringing on a guitar or strumming on a guitar. Yeah, I'm not too sure. I think not everybody can, not everybody is. I've got a lot to learn still. It's a huge labyrinth of information, and there's a lot I've got to learn, but I think that's part of the appeal and part of the fun. I don't know if I answered that question very well, but
So, can you tell me about a single that you released called "Love to Mr. Right"?
Love Me Right. Yeah. So it's a good old love song. And it's about someone who has broken up with it's actually from a guy's perspective, which is normally not how it goes on love songs. It's normally the other way around, but this one is from a guy's perspective, of how he thought he was going to be treated and how he wanted to be treated, and then trying to tell the person that he's got to try and claw his way back to love himself again and things like that. So yeah, it's a really cool track. It's a long track. It's 5 minutes. Yeah, I tend to sort of sing and tell a story. So there's a lot of words to my songs. Yeah, which I guess I haven't done very good favors for myself, because when I'm singing them live, I've got a lot to remember. But yeah.
So, have you ever, when you go do a gig, have you ever sung the wrong lyrics or?
Yeah. um yeah, one of like, I didn't always think I could sing live. I did have major stage fright. That was one of the things of, not feeling like you're good enough to be able to do it. And so when I started to sing, I guess the fear of forgetting everything was very real. But you just have to like rehearse and practice. Even if it's your own material, you've just got to keep rehearsing. But yeah, I have been up on stage and forgotten lyrics or sung them the wrong way around. And that's the beauty of it being your own song, because no one's going to judge you. But if you get up there and start singing Stevie Nicks wrong, people are going to have issues. So yeah, so you just gotta, grin and bear it.
So continue the single that we released called Underground.
The Underground is another instrumental track, and if when you're listening to it, it's meant to be that there's someone running through a tunnel, an underground tunnel, and there's parts in there where it sounds like there's water dripping down into a tunnel. So yeah, it's real fast, nice track. It's heaps of bass. Yeah, I really love that track.
So continue about your latest single.
Yeah, so my latest single, it was released on the 9th of August, so it's been out for a little bit now. And it's basically like, I guess we all have that self-doubt and not believing in ourselves. So the song is about telling people to be unapologetically yourself. Like, don't say sorry. Um, you know, part of the lyrics is pour yourself 100% proof. Sometimes we have, when we're in a room, we'll water ourselves down to accommodate for others in the room. Instead of being true to who we are, we try and, push ourselves down to where we think we should be. But yeah, we shouldn't be like that. So yeah, I wrote this song. I really love it. I've got some backing vocals on there, and that's me. And yeah, I recorded that in my home studio, and yeah, I'm really proud of being able to do that and bring people really cool music.
So have you got any future plans for releasing music?
Yes, I've got a couple more songs coming out in October and December. And then in 2025, I've got a whole project under wraps that I shouldn't say. But yeah, I guess you guys will find out.
So have you any thoughts about doing a collab with another artist?
I've done one collaboration so far. It was through Women About Sound production course in late 2023, and that's the song Endless Love that you may have seen in my music catalogue. And I speak Te Reo in it, which is our native tongue in New Zealand. And so that was really special because we only had a short amount of time to collaborate on it. And so I only had a short amount of time to learn some te reo. So I wanted to make sure that what I did was spot on. That's the collaboration I've done so far, and that was really awesome. Really enjoyed it. But yeah, mainly I'm just working with myself, but that's okay. I'm still enjoying the process.
So I know you previously done an EP. So any thoughts of releasing another EP or an album?
Yeah, there is definitely an album coming up. And yeah, I couldn't at all reveal any details on that, but yeah, there is definitely an album coming.
Oh, look forward to hearing that in the near future. So, can you tell me, have you got any up and coming gigs coming up soon?
Yeah, actually, in probably a little under a week, I guess. I've got one at a place called Dead Witch, and that's a gig called Queens of Fire, and it's 5 independent groups of artists. So there's myself and 4 other artists. It was actually a duo as well that's joined us. And we're all different genres, all independent, and we're going to be playing our own sets through the night, and that's from 8 p.m. till round about midnight. So yeah, I'll be a bit tired the next day, but it's a Friday, so I'll be able to sleep in.
So, finally, can you tell my listeners, what's it like being an independent artist in the world that we live in?
It's hard. I guess because you know, it's hard, but it's also really rewarding because everything you do, you celebrate it as a win, big or small. Um, it can be disheartening when you don't hear your music on the radio because you're not mainstream. And that's when stations like yourself are really awesome because you give us the time and you play our music. And without you, I think we'd really struggle to be heard. And I think that's why a lot of musicians give up because it is a thankless, long task. And so I've kind of done I have the thought process of I've waited all my life to do this. I'm not letting anyone discourage me, and I'm just going to enjoy what I do. And if you like and follow what I do, thank you. But I'm just here for a good time. And if what I do resonates with people, then that's awesome. That's one of the goals, right? We do it so that people love what we do, but also you have to love what you do. And I think sometimes people get distracted with the numbers and how many likes you've got and who's watched it and things. And it's like, you know, just have a goal and go for it and enjoy it. But yeah, it is hard being an independent artist, but you just got to keep going. Because I bet you the ones that are signed will also say it's hard. I think it's hard for everyone.
So, finally, can you tell my listeners, where can I find you on your social media?
So I've got a website, so vanessatottlemusic.com. And on there, when you go on to the homepage, on the right-hand side, there's all my links to my social media, as well as an email address, so people can find me that way if it's real easy. Otherwise, I'm on Facebook, Vanessa Tottle Music, and in Instagram, you can just type in Vanessa_T_music and I'll come up. But yeah, I normally refer people to my website because it's one hit and then you just go through and find everything else.
Thank you for letting me chat to you today.
Yeah, no problems. Thank you for having me.
Enjoy the rest of your day.
You too.
Goodbye.
Yeah.
Goodbye.